Hey, this is the Very Opinionated Show by your boy Jay the I Am. I got Big J with me from Alabama. I got Doc Evans and my main man Rod T and the fan favorite Maximilian. Hey, what's going on? Come on, somebody say something to me.
What's going on, y'all? I'm ready to do this show.
What's going on?
All right, we got a good show tonight. We're going to talk about depression, and we're going to talk about the new law, the new abortion law, and I think for me, probably the kicker is will America be facing war soon? And that just I think so, but that just again that's just my opinion and what I've been observing. But I do want to talk about depression. It's a real probably touchy subject, and I think all of us need to talk about it because it does deal with mental illness. I just think we just need to make sure that we are truthful and honest about depression, because I think we all experienced it in some kind of form or fashion. For me, I always find myself when I'm depressed. Especially when I was younger, I just started doing a lot of exercise, and I wouldn't eat, but I do more exercise. I just play ball and play and play and play. And then as older I got, it changes to food. So I would find myself just eat, 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 eat. And for those who know me, man, I used to be like 308 pounds, and all that just took a toll on me. And I would say, I didn't have no really good coping skills, but of course, talking to people and I always would talk to the elders, and they would kind of alleviate, those mood swings that I was having. But to define depression for me, uh, is something that Maximilian we was talking about, and he sent me a real good message on that, and I want to briefly just hit on it. What it said, people who don't want the vaccine on refusing it. You don't have to say the person refusing it or to take an antidepressant or refusing to get married. You can decline without refusing to decide what best for you. Refusing the manipulation term loaded with an unfair more, pleasure. I just think for me is uh, uh, a lot of stuff that we chooses to do, while we're depressed, it doesn't really defines us. It just, I think we try to bring certain things to cope with it. Uh, Come on, Big J, kind of expound on what you're meaning of depression.
First and foremost, I want to say hello to everyone. I'm glad we were able to come together, and thank you. Um, to answer your question, depression for me will be more like I think first of all, a lot of us don't realize we're really going through it until someone can really let us know, hey, you might be going through depression. I know for me and for most African American families, we don't really take counseling very seriously.
Correct,
When you
correct.
speak about depression, depression is a serious matter, and most of us coming from a black household back in the days, we really thought that we were could handle it on our own, but it's a very serious issue. I feel like there's nothing to play with because there's levels to it, right? There's levels to the depression. I feel like it's very strong, and it's something that we should really, um, really look at and not overlook it. As far as me personally, uh, my depression was sitting in sometime, and I really didn't even realize it until I got married, until my wife started really defining it and
Right, right.
defining what it really means and how I feel. Because sometimes you could be going through it and don't really know,
Right. You're so correct. Come on, Doc Evans. What you got to say on that? And we're doing good. Keep it down to like 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Like quick sermonette.
Okay, so Doc, since the topic is depression, I just want to define the word depression. Okay, so we got the word depression. Okay, so we also got the word decline, right?
Right.
So we got the word divine, right, which means
Correct.
going up.
Right.
Okay, decline means going down. So this word means that we're going in a certain direction.
Correct.
So depression. Okay, so depress. Okay, so when you press something, that means you're going down, right?
Correct.
Okay, so when you're depressed, that means your heart, your spirit is going down
All right.
for some other or some reason or something, right? So it's a reason, and I'm pretty sure it's always something negative. It's always something negative that's gonna press our spirits down, our hearts, our minds, our
Right.
thoughts.
Right.
So depressed. So D means something going down, right? So we these days it's a lot that we could be depressed about.
Right.
We don't have to we don't have to look far at all. To
Man, you're so correct.
Yeah, we
you're
don't have to just live day by day, and yeah. So it's when you say somebody is depressed, could we all be? Now I'm gonna keep it very short. So every human being uh has some kind of sort of depression, no matter every person you pass by dealing with some kind of depression, or
right.
is this something that we allow? I'm gonna answer your question with a question. Is this something we allow, or I mean, how do we get depressed?
Okay, that was a good
And when
question.
do we call it? When do we call it depressed?
Okay,
Or
I'm glad that you asked
sadness,
that.
like sadness,
Right.
or fit. You know what I mean?
Right. That's a good question. Those are good question. I tell you what. Hold on. We're gonna let Max answer that, and then I'm gonna chime in after that. And I bring my nephew in. Come on, Max.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you thank you guys for joining us tonight. I want to start off by saying, acknowledging that there are different types of depression. There is genetic depression, which is like spread from generation to generation. And just to address that a little bit, most people, all the influences and factors and happenings, they have an influence on our genetic makeup. And there are certain things that we go through that have such an impact on us that it creates a little marker in our genes, and that little marker is spread to next generation. And not necessarily mean it's going to happen. You have a child and it's going to be your child, but
Right.
it might be your grandchild. So that's one deal of depression. The other is kind of, if you ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's like a pyramid, and you can look it up online. And if you're missing any of those components on that pyramid, you're missing something important.
Right.
And
Right.
whatever you're
I heard
missing,
of
you're
that.
focusing
Yeah.
on, in a sense. And that's what kind of creates that depression, the lack of, not meeting our needs. And we have different types of needs: spiritual, mental, physical. That all plays in. And
Right.
oftentimes we just find ourselves in the situation of lack of, or the perception of lack of.
Right.
And you're gonna feel all kinds of ways. You can feel empty, hollow, numb, feeling that life has no point, no meaning. And that you're not going anywhere. Those are just like some of the things you might be feeling.
Right.
Some people are not necessarily like some people just they don't necessarily get their own way, or they didn't necessarily get that raise and at the job, and they get depressed, and that hits them really hard. So there's different variants of depression, and it impacts all of us differently. And this is the thing, though. I'm just gonna say, for any community that lives below that poverty line, that's like in like real poverty, it's just how it's gonna be. You're gonna have that, you're gonna face that daily, and you're not necessarily gonna be acknowledging it, because you're just gonna be trying to push through. You go in that survival mode, and when you're in a survival mode, you're just surviving. You're not thriving, you're just surviving. You're living day to day, trying to pay bill to bill, meal to meal. So in a broader sense, we're all dealing with different types of depression, right? And this is what I kind of want to reiterate on. People are like gonna say, oh, well, man, just buck up, or, oh, that's no big deal. Oh, there's people allowed to have it worse. But I think most people don't necessarily even know how to acknowledge or speak with the people who have depression or express that they have depression. Most people who have depression or mental illness, they've learned to cope with it, not necessarily cope with it, but to hide it from other people because of the fear of perception and being judged.
Right.
Okay, I'm differently.
Okay. I'm gonna bring Rod T in because I want him to get him in. So come on, Rod, say something on it.
First of all, I want to say appreciate you for having me on the show tonight, and fellow, hello to the fellow participants. It's good to see y'all brothers, and I want to say this, you coming out the gate with these real fire topics, brother. I see you. But all I can say on depression aspect, I can just try to go personal real quick. The last 2 times that I remember just really being emotional and crying like a baby was when my grandfather died and we was at his funeral. He was right next to me, and I was just crying. Man, I'm like, man, what's wrong with me? I ain't never cried like that because I didn't really know my grandfather like that.
Right.
But looking back on it, that's probably why I was crying so much, because it's like, man, like
you never got a chance to
the chance to really just interact with him and do that. And and the last time I cried was my grandma, and we like I said on the last show, we was like this.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
We was tight. And I always go back to the last conversation we had when I went to her house after my brother's baby shower, or my brother's wife baby shower, and we just talked, and I told her, man, Grandma, you gotta hold on, because I want you to be proud of me to see what we about to do.
Right.
And she was like, I'm already proud of you, Roy. She called me Roy.
Right.
And I was like, in my head, I'm like, man, I haven't done nothing yet of substance, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because the way I look, as a man, it's like, you want to hit the lotto, you want to just take care of your whole family, and I want Grandma to see that, But me personally, me having somebody to talk to, because I got a real good friend, like my brother, my boy Don Dada.
Right.
We was on the phone, and man, it just hit me, and I just started crying, and he was just there. You know what I mean? And like you with me, I get it out, and I keep it moving, But I always just think about those 2. Last times I got really emotional. You know what I mean? So if you want to say depression, I guess that's what it was. And it's a very, like y'all said, it's a very serious issue. That really doesn't really get a lot of light. And that's really all I got to say.
You know what? Let me tell you something, man. That's everybody had good points and bring it, because all of us experienced different, I would say different types, and we probably view or experience it all differently. And again, it could be environment, and we have different approach and stuff to it. And I can always say, especially in the African American community, like Max said, it was like, we'll just buck up and deal with it. But our thing was, let Jesus take care. He's your counselor. And that's how we was taught to deal with depression. Let the Lord take care of it. and don't know Big J, he know what I'm talking about, you know. But I mean, it's a touchy subject, you know, and of course it also leans towards mental illness because it's always something dealing with the mental state when you're talking about depression. Man, we at the 15-minute mark, and now you know we're gonna keep it moving. And I think this subject here, you know, what we're going to kind of hit on it. And I know we all men, but you know, thank God we got Big J wife and Doc Evans wife around, so they can show us give us a few pointers and their perspective on the new law of abortion. Now, again, I mean, you know, when we talk about abortion, of course, that's choice. To me, that just, you know, I said the individual because you know, the new law states after 6 weeks, it's against the law. You cannot abort. And if you do, I had to look it up, is that each instance, and the way how I guess they were putting it, each instance every time you're trying to do a female would do abortion, they would get fined $10,000. It didn't say it in jail time. It just said it's against the law and they would be fined up to $10,000. Now, again, I'm not a female, but I think, you know, being, you know, even the males, we should have a say so and per se, even though I know it's her body, it's her decision, but also the man is a part of it. You know, she didn't get pregnant by herself, you know, but I think they kind of leave us out of that equation when it comes to decision making or them making a choice. Because, you know, so I talked to some guys growing up, they like, well, I want to keep the baby. She wouldn't have had the abortion anyway behind my back. You know, she could have just gave me the baby and been done with it. But of course, it don't work that way sometimes in this society. But come on, Big J, expound on that and tell me what you think. And you know, if your wife want to kind of like you maybe, you know, say some stuff in your ears, you know, that'll help us out. Come on, Big J. Unmute. I mean, unmute you. I'm back. I got you.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Abortion. Very heavy topic. And since this is the opinionated show,
Yes, sir.
I really don't like how hot we call him. A lot of people call him Hot Wheels. He's a governor. I think some of the things done, the things that he's doing, man, when it come to people's bodies. Now you all up in women's bodies. If a
Right.
woman want to have a child, she should have the right to have that child. You should not try to be God when it comes to a person's decision making when they're trying to have a child. I just think you have a right to oversee someone else's body. It's funny that you say abortion because on one hand, they're trying to make it be a law with this abortion thing. Before you know it, you're not going to have any pro-choice on the vaccine as well.
Right. Right.
They're just going to make you. So if you can't make someone take a vaccine, I don't think you should make someone have an abortion.
Right. Right.
So it's all about pro-choice, pro-life, and all of that. Now, it's a deeper subject, I believe, because I think it's always bigger than the actual subject, right? It's always, that's what's on the surface.
Right. Right.
But something always behind the surface. Why do you want to have an abort? Why do you want to make people that get pregnant have the right, for you to have the right to have abortions? Okay, well, then you have to break down how many people get pregnant, which race gets pregnant the most.
Right. Right.
So there's something behind that.
Right.
They're trying
30 seconds.
to control, you know.
Go ahead.
All I got to say about that.
Come on, Doc Evans. Come on, Doc. Tell me what you think.
Simple subject, isn't it? Right?
Well, I mean, just give me your right. We're talking about the new law.
Well, like when me and you talk, I'm not a political person at all, but we are very spiritual people. And we go from here to there. But
Right.
this abortion thing is it's nothing but how can I put it? Because I know we got very little time. Uh, the only reason you would want an abortion is because you went out and you did what God didn't tell you to do anyway.
Correct.
So if you was doing what you was supposed to been doing, we wouldn't even be talking about abortion.
And why
Right.
is that? And why
Huh?
is that? Why is that deep?
But look, people don't talk about that. The root of the problem is you wasn't supposed to do that anyway before you got married, right?
Oh no, so we ain't supposed to be getting busy, and you supposed to be keeping yourself holy.
If you want to live according to what the word says, okay?
Right, right,
That's where the root starts at. If we want to talk about abortion.
right, right, right. All right,
So
hold that thought. Hold that thought. Come
okay.
on, Raw T. Come on, Raw T.
Point, you know what I'm saying? So I see it just like he do, but just if we just look at the the act of choice, I do agree that the woman should have the choice on whether she wants to carry the baby, or not. But
Right, right,
with that choice, you're gonna have consequences. You're gonna probably regret it later on because I've talked to a lot of women that's went through that, and older women that's
Yeah.
said that they regretted it, later down the line. But just to go to what Brother Marvin said, and what you said, as men, well, I say this as a man, I'm not gonna lay with no woman that I wouldn't want to have no baby with or get married with, because that's
anyway. Yeah,
if you're gonna
anyway.
if you're gonna do that, you should
Yeah.
know we be fruitful and multiply. So that's that, So it just amazes me when people be like, "Oh man, we got pregnant." Oh well, you was doing activities is gonna lead to pregnancy,
Yeah, that's what it gonna lead to,
So if you
especially
don't,
unprotected. Yeah.
if you don't want to baby with somebody, you probably should lay with them, and y'all should have all of that ironed out before you even lay with them, in my opinion. And as a man, I'm thinking about marriage. I'm thinking about the long term. Can I be connected to this woman for the rest of my life? That's how I'm looking at it. That's all I got to say.
Come on, Max. Come on, Max.
Gentlemen, come on. we need to think more deeper into this. We need to think a little bit deeper than that. That's just surface. Just surface. Like I said, first I just want to acknowledge us as men that we are very ignorant. We're very ignorant because we're not females. We don't have a female body. We cannot understand or comprehend what they go through and everything else. First of all, I just want to acknowledge that. So we can only kind of have our perspective is kind of skewed on that topic in a sense. But this is what I can say. Women should have a choice, and there's so many different instances. This is why women should. It's their own body. What about the 11-year-old
That's
girl
the
that
first
gets
and
raped,
foremost.
and
Right.
her body is not even that fully developed to carry a child? What about women who actually whose placenta breaks too early and they have to make that choice? It's either her health or getting rid of the fetus.
Right.
We have to think about, let's say a couple of sophomores in high school, they have sex and, condom breaks. And,
And there
how's
you
that
go.
going to, how, those are the choices, those are just some of like the examples that, that
Right.
finds us and particularly, affect females, and they have to make those choices. Now, as these guys, yeah, we can have our own opinion, but at the end of the day, it's their body. First of all, we can never comprehend even like the procedure, even if you look up the videos or educational stuff on how it's performed. Man, that's horrific. It's literally cutting up that little fetus, little body, and then sucking it out, and it's like it's horrible. You know, if we're not even necessarily aware of how that affects a woman. Just the procedure
Right.
that actually takes almost a decade of her life, just having that procedure done, how risky it is for her life as
Right.
well being done.
Yeah, I
You
heard
know,
some
the
horror
impact
stories behind
of
it. Yeah.
that, the impacts on a woman's body, on the skin, you know, mentally, how
Right.
that affects women. So I am all pro-choice. Let allow women make those decisions, because it's not one picture fit all. Yeah, we can only speculate. Yeah, man, you know, I only want to have sex with somebody who I care for and love, and you know, all of that. And you may be with somebody like that, and then you find out they're not necessarily fully on the same page as you are. While you may
Yeah.
want something, they may not.
Right.
And
And that's normally works that way. Yeah. It normally works that way. And a lot of kids get, how they say, become bastard child or whatever they want to, they want to label
I
a child.
dislike that term.
Hey, we having a little robot
That's a
difficulties
old
right now,
folks
guys.
BS.
Okay.
I think that's
All right. Who?
old. Sorry to interrupt whoever it is. I can't really see. I'm just gonna say that's an old folks BS, because guess what? It's 21st century. You can live with somebody and love somebody and not necessarily having the need to get married, or, oh, for Christ's sake, if I don't get married, my child will be out of wedlock. Who gives a shit? I'm just gonna say it that way. If two people love each other and they have a child together, who gives a shit? Who the fuck are you to point a damn finger? I apologize for my language.
No, you good. You good. Now, let me say this here. Is that, again, you all of y'all, we hit on the point of choice. Who choice it is? The woman choice. Because at the end of the day, that's who it, because they have to deal with that, and they will have to make that decision to either to go through that pain or not go through that pain. And that's what it is. We at the 27-minute mark. I tell you what, man, you know what? Now, this last part right here, we're gonna keep it moving. Now, I'm definitely want to hear from my boy Big J on this. Now, I just believe America is on the verge of a war, and we don't even know nothing about it. And I ain't talking about the type of the war that we normally see on TV or whatever. I'm talking about a revolution at its best. Come on, Big J, expound on that. Come on, Big J.
Yeah, when you say that, what exactly do you mean? Like, what do you?
Max keep popping out. I mean, with all the stuff, whether it's from division in the country to vaccine to COVID to marching to from police brutality. I mean, I just think it run wide in a sense of, and when I say revolution, I think that's where America. And then you got of course, what happened in Afghanistan at the airport. I think it was in there was the Taliban's went to Afghanistan and they bombed up the airport and 200 people got killed. A lot of Marine soldiers died, plus women and children. So, do you believe that kind of activity is going to lead where America may end up going, having a revolution war, or just playing out World War III?
Well,
if you've been keeping up with it.
Yeah, that's a lot of issues that we touched on. I expound on as much as I can. First and foremost, the COVID. Now, that's a war within itself. If numbers don't lie, people always say, people lie, but numbers don't lie.
Right.
You look at the COVID rate and you look at the survival rate, you look at the states that are not vaccinated. These people are dying. I had a neighbor of mine that almost died. He was shot. I'm vaccinated. My whole family is vaccinated. And I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, well, I don't know what's in it, or it may hurt my body. Okay, well, we don't know what's in your organic bananas when you eat them. We don't know what's in your blood pressure pills.
Right.
We don't know what's in your baby powder or your baby oil or your cologne. But we just trust the people and trust the doctors and scientists. We trust the science. And by trusting the science, we've always been able to go forward by trusting the science.
But is that pre-program or post-program? Because in order to get us to that point where we trust, they have to do big baby little steps, and to get us to a point like, hey, we're giving y'all vaccine for this, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll trust our those that are in authority leadership.
Right.
But I just believe I just think it's too much, because people are just quick to snap now. People are so quick to just go off, and now we have the new law in Texas where you don't even need a license to carry a gun. So anybody can carry a gun. They get pissed off, you mess around and cut the wrong person off, and then they didn't want to shoot. So I hate to say it, now I got to ride around with my gun almost 24/7, and I really don't like that, because John will be with me all the time.
Let me say this, Jason, that I believe that the law was put in place when all this started. Carrying a gun was back in the other terms with the other president that we had.
Right.
Everyone ran out. I went to academy. I couldn't find a gun, and I had to come back when the shipments, the bullets were out, because people were preparing, because we didn't know what was going to go on.
Right.
Me, and maybe this is just my opinion, I feel like when the African Americans started getting guns, that's when it was okay for everyone to get guns.
Wow.
We've been living here. I've been living here almost 50 years of my life, and you always have had to have a license to carry a gun.
Right.
Now, since the numbers are out of the roof of African Americans purchasing guns, bullets, and being prepared, now everyone can get a gun.
Right. Come on, Doc Evans. Tell me what you think on that. Come on, Doc. Don't tell me you got your mic mute. Unmute yourself.
It's off.
Okay. Now tell me what you think on that. Do you think America is on the verge of a war, or a revolution war? What they call it, civil war? You want to call it?
You talking about as far as gun?
It can be from any perspective, because of what all the current events is going on in this society, and it's just not just in America; it's all over the world. From, like I said, from gun to gun carry to what had happened in Afghanistan at the airport, where the 200 soldiers, men and women, children got killed. So it's a lot of stuff.
Well, you asked my opinion on the very opinionated show, so I say right now we already in a some sort of a war right now, because we got this COVID we fighting, man, and that's kind of like controlling a lot of things, man, in our life right now.
Right.
And so as far as looking on the TV, as far as how we gonna focus on, our people who fight for our country in another country shooting at each other. So that's gonna be hard to focus on, brother. Because we got our wars right here at home. We fighting each one of our households right now.
Every day.
To work, warring with the boss, and trying to
Amen to that.
Sending your kids to school, trying to make sure they don't get COVID. That's a war. You got to make sure your wife. That's a war. Man, look. I said it's a war already.
How come we got to be a war with the wife? Okay.
No. Like a war is for making sure she okay, so she won't shoot at you.
Look at her. I see you, Riri. I see she came and picked in on that one.
Yeah, so y'all won't be warring against each other.
Amen, my brother. Amen. Come on, Rod T. Tell me what you think on that.
I say this, man. Y'all some characters over there. Y'all got me over here chuckling it up. But I'll take it political real quick. With the last election, because I've had conversations at work with people.
Right.
And you know how they say, don't bring up politics, religions, and all that. But we did. So and I didn't tell nobody who I voted for, or whatnot. I was just I'm playing. I'm trying to get information on both sides. So when let's just say somebody was talking about Democrat, and I'll say, well, what's so wrong with Trump, and what's going on, and it would get really divisive. So to answer your question, I believe that I think a lot of these issues are maybe being put in front of us to divide us, instead of us like let's just say we all see, let's just say half of us would have voted for Trump and half of us would have voted for Biden, hypothetically, and us having differing opinions. And we can still do that, and just okay, we can shake hands. You feel like that, and I feel like this. But a lot of this is like what from what I see, it's very aggressive. It's very starting conflict. And
you're so correct.
Yeah, and I believe that that, and like the COVID, and if you blend everything together, we might be on the verge of a major war. I don't know, but it seems like everything's on the board. Like let's say if you say like a stove, the water boiling. It seems like it's just ready to explode.
Right now is bubbling. Right now it's not having come to full. Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah. Come on, Max. Come on. I'm bringing Max because Max was having some technical difficulties over there. Come on, Max.
Yeah, man. As always, I'm having some difficulties. What can I say?
Hey, you the fan favorite, man. There he go,
I guess
man.
I better count my time then. Let's see. First of all, if we're going to talk about war, or address just the war in general, or the atmosphere, might be people who tend to bring up the race or something first. You already kind of know where their mind is, so that's not really something worth really discussing, or it's not necessarily going to lead anywhere productive. What I can say is, yes, there is a war. I agree with what Marvin said. Particularly, I think, in my opinion, that's media is involved. And I've noticed that numerous instances, because I come from a completely different place, and what people were taught and were shown on TV that happened over there, here in America, and what actually happened were very different things. And
totally
I look at
two
people
different,
telling me stuff that I lived through, I witnessed, and I'm like, what the fuck are these people telling you? However, that's what I can say. My thought is this. But this is what I kind of learned even like in school, and you can like Google it. You can do your own research. Around 80% of the media or media outlets lean towards the left, while the other 20 lean toward the right. So if you feel like there's kind of war, there is. And of course, once previous president was in the office, of course, I'm going to say Democratic-led media, they were on him they were writing him every single moment, every single day. However, with the incompetent person we have now in the office, they're just trying to kind of brush off whatever he says or does. But in a sense, that's what it kind of creates, the divisiveness. Now, if the media were focused on reporting facts rather than biased stories, or stories that would enrage and anger and provoke people, then that would be a completely different thing. It would be much more peaceful place for every single one of us. Our homes would be much more peaceful. We would be provided with actual facts rather than, blatant, kind of manipulative and dismissive lies. So that's kind of what I can tell you about it now. It's all about how much you buy into it. If you're the person who just watches TV and, oh my God, you get triggered by every single thing, then Good job. You're their puppet. You are
Right,
the
right.
exact thing why the news is there, because guess what? Fear sells, hate sells, triggering people sells, outrage sells. That's how they do it. That's their whole point. They're
Now
not
is
gonna
that
be reporting good news or people actually getting along in different communities. They want to find and point out those holes where they can dig out something they can trigger or provoke people. And from my perspective, I'd rather watch anything else than the news these days. If I need to watch an important news, I'll probably watch a weather channel to see what the forecast is going to be like. That's it. As far
okay?
as
Come on.
for the news, I really want.
Okay, come on, Big J. Come on, you can. I got see you got your hand up. Come on, Big J.
From this country, and I was born here in this country. So if you're not from this country, I don't know how heavy your opinion could be, first of all, because then that would be like me talking about your country, and I wasn't raised or born in your country, or I have no historical background of your country and to comment. So first of all, I don't think how a person can comment on a country they're not from. So the very bias that you speak of, that you're talking about, that's driving and dividing us, is the very bias that you're speaking of right now. Because if you're not from this country, you're watching the same television that we are watching, which leads you to the opinion you just said. So if you're not from this country, that would be like me going to your country, watching the TV and the news and forming an opinion and being biased to that country, and I'm not even from there.
So it's more at fault as media.
Hate is real. And hate is real. This country was built on hate and racism and division.
That is true.
If you look at any history book, unless you just don't want to see it, this country was built on the backs of people, and they were never gotten the right and the justice that they rightfully deserves. In any country where you have to make up a law just to be able to be educated, just to be able to be fair, we never ask for a handout. We just ask to be equal. That's another thing that people get wrong. They feel like blacks want a handout. No, we just want to be fair and partial and equal. And if you're blind, if you don't see where blacks for years have had to just try to fight to be equal, then something is wrong.
Now what? Now watch this. Now, because everybody brought up good points, and we did. We're talking about war because it's this war. It can be a race war. It can be, like I said, COVID war. It can be just war, just trying to get your children in the right school and all this other stuff. And let me just drop this golden nugget right quick. My dad always said, pick a side. He said, but make sure you pick the right side. Don't pick and hang out with wrong folks. Pick the right side that is going in the right direction. Now, Democrats is the color blue, and I'm gonna say this, and Republicans consider the red. That sounds like Bloods and Crips to me. So hey, no matter how we want, even in your basketball games and your all-star, you just got blue and red. Why are those particular colors? Well, of course, that leads me to say, pick a side. You pick east or you pick the west. And those colors, even in the street gangs of LA, it's the Bloods and the Crips, but it's a color. But nobody is not understanding the concept behind all of that. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to say it's rich against poor. But as we hit the 45, almost the 45-minute mark, man, it's been a good topic on tonight with those input from Big J and Doc Evans Marvin and Rod T and my main man Maximilian. We're gonna hit y'all up on the next show. We got some good topics talking about. Please subscribe to to the Very Opinionated Show. We doing a marvelous thing. And also, I got to give a shout out to the Quality Life podcast. Them boys is tearing it up over there. You know how many they got so many subscribers now, man. They didn't blow us out the water. Now I got to play catch up. So let's play some catch up, Maximilian and Doc Evans and Big J. And next time we will go more in depth on how we are going to try to bring things together, so we can understand how this journey is supposed to be actually walked and ran. So we are signing off. Please join us next time. And I'm fist to end it.